good day out there to all my listeners. And I'd like to welcome you to Is Your Way in Your Way podcast. And I'm your host, Cassandra Crawley Mayo. And for those new listeners out there, let me just share with you what this podcast is all about. It's for those individuals who are in their way, actually, individuals who are stuck. You know what it's going to take you to start living your best life on your terms, but you're just stuck. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. And I always use my example. My book is titled "Is Your Way in Your Way?" The same as the podcast. And my way was in my way for a long time, and that's what took me so long to write my book. So then I decided to get out of my way, and as a result of that, I was able to do one of my goals and aspirations, and that's what we want you to do on this podcast. And I am hopeful and prayerful that there will be something said that will resonate with you to say, you know what? There it is. That's just what I needed. And I'm going to get started, because all it takes is taking action. You can make that decision, but if you don't move forward, nothing's going to happen. We talk about topics related to personal development, business development, and it will enable you to do some self-reflection. And today I'm super excited about what we're going to talk about, because it's not talked about a lot, and it's the art of healing inner child wounds, the tools of emotional freedom. And there is a chapter in my book that talks about your childhood has a lot to do with your adulthood. And I'm going to introduce you to our special guest. Oops, we caught her drinking. Alicia. Right. Alicia, and I meant to ask her, how do you pronounce that last name? Is it Farricielli?
Farricielli, yes, you were so close. You get closer than most people. So,
congratulations. Good. Yeah, great. Well, I'd like to welcome you to Is Your Way in Your Way, and I am certainly glad that you are here, because I still say that childhood has so much to do with our adulthood. Though before we get started, I want to read a little bit of your background so individuals will get a clearer understanding of why you are qualified to talk about this topic, and not only qualified, but why do you do what you do based on this topic. Alicia is a certified life and health coach with over 20 years of expertise in marketing, public relations, and entrepreneurship. She's also the host of the Intuitive Revolution podcast. She empowers individuals to harness their intuition, overcome those limiting beliefs, and achieve holistic well-being. Drawing from her own journey of resilience and self-discovery, she helps clients break free from insecurity, anxiety, and burnout, guiding them toward authenticity, balance, and personal empowerment. With empathy and insight, she inspires transformative growth, fostering confidence and harmony in those she supports. Wow, I can't wait. I'm so excited about this topic. Well, now, what I'd like to know, and I know my audience would like to know, tell us about your backstory. What was going on back then in that childhood day, those childhood days?
Yeah, I never thought I would be doing this. I didn't just wake up one day, when I was a kid and be like, oh, I'm going to teach people all the traumas I had.
Exactly. Right. Tell us everything. Yeah.
So I take people back. My childhood, I was born from an extremely conservative, super religious, hellfire damnation type of background. So that's what was thrown at me, very, very, very fear-based. And so, as you can imagine, a child being born into a fear of, from the day you're into the world, and probably through your mother's womb, is like, oh, you have to fear for this like damnation of hell. If you make one little mistake, you're like going to be condemned for the rest of your life or after eternity. So imagine that being, and I'm not trying to, to say bad about religions, but that's kind of what I was born into. It was very fearful, very, didn't feel any self-worth within myself, felt neglected in certain portions of my childhood. And I'm not blaming my parents for that, because parents can't necessarily do the best. I mean, they do the best they can. They did the best they could with what their belief system were and the fear that was already instilled inside of them. Right. So imagine having fear-based parents with being a very fear-based, timid child. I was so shy. I use the example a lot. When I was in second grade, I got my name on the board, which was no big deal because all the other kids had got their name on the board. I don't know,
Yeah.
probably talking or something. And I did something very, very little. I
Mm-hmm.
cried the entire day because I was so scared. I messed up. And so I cried the entire day, come home in tears. It was just like so detrimental. And I just had that wound inside of me that I'd forgotten about until I got into my adult years and started to dig a little deeper and get some of these wounds out. And I
Uh-huh.
felt like that was keeping me held back from a lot of criticisms in my life because I always felt like I was going to be, if I was criticized, it means I was doing something wrong. But therefore, I should fear being wrong. Not that I have the same belief system at all compared to what I was brought into, but it's
Right.
still that fear that's, subconsciously inside of me. There's still some fear inside of me, but I'm very bring it to awareness now, and it's a little bit different
Right.
around
Right.
it. But yeah, so I went into that, got into my teenage years, was a little rebellious, very
Mm-hmm.
rebellious, and so ended up pretty pregnant, getting married very young, divorced. By the age I was 30, had two small children. I was trying to raise on my own, having the whole mother, the single mother trauma
Yeah.
that comes, and that's a huge trauma too. So don't ever, if you're
Yeah.
still a mom out there, I feel for you. My heart's with you. Um, Going through all of that, but a lot of the wounds that I had from my inner child was starting to play into some of my, relationships and work
Mhm.
relationships, launch businesses. They were successful. I
Mhm.
burned myself out with them, start
Mhm.
something new, on and on and on and on and on, over and over and over again, hitting, like you said, that broke wall. And
Okay.
so I got to a point to my life, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't live like this. I was super depressed. I mean, I
Mhm.
was at the end of my ropes. So
Mhm.
I started down the path of trying to heal myself. I was like, there's something wrong. And I thought it
Right.
was something
Okay.
wrong with me, but there's nothing wrong with me. It was something wrong with my path, and things that were inside of me were not alignment with who I was. So I started,
Okay.
yeah, that. And as I was getting into it, I was got really far. And I was like, there's still something missing there. And it's
Mhm.
funny how the universe works. Is like, here's inner child work, here's shadow work. So like, I put the two of those together, and I started like inner child. That's what it was. It was my
Okay.
little Alicia. I was not listening to her. I was not taking care of her. I was ignoring her, and she was still acting out.
Now her is little Alicia.
I call her little Alicia. I
L-
always,
l-
I make
Okay.
the people I work with through workshops and through coaching and stuff. I have them name their inner child. Like it could
Okay.
be whatever. I've had my friend of mine named hers a little firecracker because it showed up. I love that
Okay.
name. So it's like I
Okay.
have to name that because it's like a little person. You want to treat it like it's on the side of your hip all the time, like a kid, and
Right.
take care of it and nurture it, and it's
Right.
always inside of you. So name this thing. Learn and bond with this little girl or boy or they whatever it is inside of you.
So mature Alicia, not little Alicia.
Yeah.
What happened? What was that breaking point that enabled you to confront, to start transforming your life? What's happened? Something had to happen.
I owned an event company at the time, corporate event company, and I
Uh-huh.
was working 80 hours a week,
Mm-hmm.
and I was making very little money,
Mm-hmm.
profitability on it, because I was so far behind. I'd have to wait for my clients to pay me. I'm talking I was forking out tens of thousands of dollars a month and then hoping to get paid back on time. And it would take sometimes 2-3 months. So I was like scrambling to
So this
to
was
like
your own company, or
my
you were
own
working?
company.
Oh
It was my own
wow.
company.
Okay.
I had
All right.
employees, I had contractors underneath me or behind. I say
Wow.
underneath, they were working alongside, but with that I had hired on. And
Yeah.
it was wearing me out. I was so worn out.
Oh my
So
God.
I had this, and it was it's successful. It could be profitable. If it, and my daughter was going through something. She was, I think, 14, 15, 16 years old at the time. And we're having just that clashing, a teenage clashing of issues. She
Mhm.
was having her own, you know, drama, all that stuff going on. My boyfriend's my husband at the time, and I were not seeing eye to eye on things. So I
Okay.
felt really stuck in life. I was like, I'm miserable. So one
Right.
day I was like, and honest, and like getting down, I was at the very end to where I was starting to plan the end of my life. It was
Okay.
that it was that deep.
That was
And so I
enough.
sat
Okay.
down. I was like, I looked. I was like, God, I'm done. I was like, you either tell me how to do this, or you make.
Hmm.
I like show me, show me changes I need to make in my life. And
So you were
luckily,
at your wits' end.
I was at the done. I was at the wit's end, had like planning stages of how I was going to to end it. I was like, I was done. I can't go on. I was 35, 36 years old at the time. It's like, I
Mm-hmm.
can't go on and do this anymore. I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
can't do it. I could physically, mentally, spiritually, everything drained and exhausted.
Sure.
Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Did
Fighting. Yeah.
somebody help you with that, or you did this on your own? Like, oh, I
I
just
did a majority of this on my own. I was in and out of therapy, back and forth. I had
okay.
a couple of good therapists. The rest of them were, it made me end up leaving like there was something wrong with me at the time.
Mm,
And
okay.
so I ended up connecting with a really good therapist, and I work with her now.
Still.
Once a month, just because I keep up stuff. I go in there and be like, I don't have much to talk, and we'll just keep talking. And it's just
Right.
like, it's a maintenance type of therapy. And
Sure.
I'm very big
Sure.
on that.
Right.
So I was doing that. And I ended up, so I started doing the self-development path, and I started journaling. I started reading. I started doing things that were, I kind of innately knew. I mean, I had a little bit of background in psychology. So I
Mm-hmm.
started kind of pulling some things from that. And I really started leaning on more a spiritual basis of it.
Okay.
And so as I was going that, I ended up hiring a life coach for myself. In 90 days, she started to introduce me to energy work, to breathwork meditation. And so I was able to release the energetic blocks that were inside of me that were not
Mm.
going away on their own through talk therapy or through talk communicate.
Did you say Reiki, or what did you say?
Um, she does, well, it's energy work, but I am a
Right.
Reiki master. But I
Okay.
do intuitive. And so she taught me a
Okay.
lot of like intuitive wise. I'm in multiple different
Sure.
things, right? I don't, whatever I do. But
Right.
yeah. So I mean, that literally started to release some of these traumas and these um emotions that were locked inside of myself. And so as
Mm-hmm.
I was able to clear those out, that
Yes.
I was able to come in and to actually get out of my nervous system started to regulate. So I was not as
Mhm.
scared, trying, the tiger wasn't still chasing me. So I was able to
Right.
regulate that to actually start to open up and receive in the true healing that I needed.
Okay.
And so
Good.
once I started to do that, and then I worked with her for a while, still work with her on and off. And then I came across the inner child stuff. So inner child wise, when I started doing that, I did all that. I did that on my own. But I
Okay.
did on my own. I say on my own. I didn't have a lot of outside resources and help. I did that intuitively. So I have a
Mm-hmm.
very intuitive meditation. I go in and talk to my guides and spirits and source, and they get all the information given to me, and was able to, through some books and some courses too, but really able
Sure.
to start
Right.
to learn the techniques that I teach people now how to do.
Right. So it sounds like it's taken you a while to get through this, and you're still probably a work in progress, right?
Oh, it's going to be a work till the day that I pass away from this
Exactly.
life. It's a work. I mean, if anybody tells you that they're healed, I'm going to call, no, you're
Right.
not healed.
That's
There's
right.
no healing, and you're not completely healed because there's things that come in that trigger us. Now you
Right.
can get to a very content place, a very happy, joyful place, and you're
Mm-hmm.
still going to have up and down days and rocky moments, but
Mm-hmm.
you can still be in a happy, joyful place with those rocky moments. And that's
Exactly.
where we want to get to. That's the healedness that we're looking to strive to. The
Right.
people that tell you, "Oh, you're never going to have any more issues. You're completely healed." It's not true, because
That's right.
you're going to walk out the door and somebody's going to slam on the brakes in front of you, and you're going to have a trauma experience of almost hitting someone. I mean,
Right.
that's a little wound inside of you, and there you have to heal that too. I mean,
Right.
you have to sit in a bubble. They're going to get bored, and that's going to be so. It's like everything that kind of goes in to our lives contributes to this, but we have to
So
learn how to deal with it.
right. So mature Alicia, do you
Yeah,
ever talk to little Alicia?
every day.
Uh-huh. What are some of the things that you do to to help overcome what your childhood wounds are? What do you do?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I'm actually in the process of having to relive a lot of this. I'm writing my book now. And so
Mm-hmm.
as I'm writing the book, I'm having to go back and relive a lot of memories that I'm
Hmm.
healed mostly from, but now I'm having
Right.
to open those wounds back up again because I have to remember it in the same mannerisms that little Alicia experienced it.
Yes.
And
Okay.
so, and it's
Okay.
also a big healing process for me too. Um,
Hmm.
but I go and I talk to her every day and I just listen to her. I mean, and it
Mm-hmm.
could be the fact that somebody said something that really rubbed me wrong, that made me
Mm-hmm.
feel really bad about myself or made me
Mm-hmm.
angry, and they didn't mean it that way. I have to go
Sure.
back and talk to him like, how's this a little Alicia affect, like, is this her speaking out? Most of the time it
Right.
is. And so I have to
Right.
have a conversation with her, like, and listen to her and acknowledge
Mm-hmm.
her and let her know everything that you're saying is valued. It's valuable.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm. Now,
everything is great that you
yeah.
have to say.
How has this impacted your children? You have two.
I
Are they
do.
girls?
I have a boy and a girl, and they are in their 20s.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, so they're grown, and unfortunately for them and for myself, I didn't have this healing when I was going through.
Okay.
I was a young mom in my 20s, young 20s, raising these kids, still on survival mode, still dealing with these inner child wounds. Didn't know what to do. I mean, I was a single mom for many years and
Sure.
just I was just surviving. And so
Right.
unfortunately I haven't, but I'm in really good relationships, particularly with my daughter. And so she's been able to kind of, I think, hopefully she's proud of me to see how the healing process has begun. And I've been able to come back and apologize for a lot of ways that I reacted to things and did the best. But
Mhm.
also, I hope they understand that I did the best I could with what I had.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
so that's
Absolutely.
kind of what I've put the grace within myself is knowing I did everything. What I did was out of love for them.
That's right. That's right.
Everything I did was completely out of love. It may not have been the right reaction or what they needed. And probably
Right.
didn't I know I didn't give them what they needed, but that's okay
Mhm.
because now
Mhm.
they can give themselves what they need.
Exactly. Now, do you, based on the work that you do you suggest to them, because they're young adults, that perhaps maybe they should be getting some help?
Oh
And
yeah.
if so, how is it received?
Oh, my son's a little bit different. We have a different relationship. We're not really that as close. We've had some
Mhm.
things that have happened that have kind of forced us out to, I don't, really want to go back into deep delve with that on the podcast, but some things that we're not as close as we should
Okay.
be. My daughter and I are extremely close and we'll have multiple conversations back and forth,
Okay.
about stuff. And she does a lot of self-development and growth work on herself. I'm super super proud of her for, and
Okay.
I think
Okay.
my son is doing a lot of growth as well too, from
Yeah,
what he tells me, what I
sure.
see with it. But she's a little more intimate, as you know, mother-daughter relationships are to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, most of them are, but you're
Yeah,
right. Some of them not, but some of them, yeah, you're
yeah.
right. Yeah. Now, with your clients, what are some of the challenges or limiting beliefs do you encounter with them?
Yeah, so a lot of it, most of the clients that come in, they have a very victim mentality,
Mm.
and I can completely relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
Completely, totally relate to that. So we have to take the victim, and they think it's someone else's fault that the reason they're the way they are, or there's
Mm.
something wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to go back and have to get that over the limit. There's nothing wrong with you. You're perfect the way that you are. You are beautiful the
Yes.
way that you are. There are things
Right.
in your life that you're not reacting to, that in a certain mannerisms that's bringing you to the progress that you want to go. And so we
Mm-hmm.
have to go through all of that, and then
Mm-hmm.
take the victimization out of from whatever thing that happened to them, that they're not a victim. We have to untie their selves to it. So those are two of the
Okay.
biggest, probably the two of the biggest things. A lot of times clients come to me, they're like, I had a great childhood. That's
Mm.
fantastic. I'm very happy that they did.
Uh-huh.
However, everything that they're talking about is tied into the inner child. Everything
Right.
we're discussing, and we get dig down to like, whoa, wow. And again, we have to go back and
Right.
we're not a victim of it. We're forgiving. We're everybody
Mm-hmm.
do the best they can. And now is
Mm-hmm.
acknowledgement. So now you know what to do to
Right.
move forward. And it's such an amazing, 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 beautiful thing to see.
Wow. Well, listen, since they're saying their childhood was great,
Yeah.
why are they coming to you, for those who say that? What's their reasoning for coming to you,
Well,
hiring you?
when you look at it, a great childhood, typically people think I had two parents. They were either married or they got along great. They never had to worry about money. They never were like poverty. I mean, they take the extremities, My parents loved me. My parents did
Mhm,
this for me. They took care of me. Well,
mhm,
sometimes parents can love a little too much in different ways. Maybe they loved you, but they didn't love you in a way that when you were a child, that you really felt deeply and genuinely loved.
mhm.
It doesn't mean they didn't love you.
Right.
maybe you came home, they had high expectations for you.
Right.
And maybe
Okay.
you have high expectations of yourself going into your work. I see that a lot with clients is it's the I'm never enough, not good enough. More and more and more and more, do more, 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 more. Instead
Right.
of slowing down and enjoying life, they're on the train to having to prove themselves. They're still proving stuff to their parents.
Sure. Sure.
So that's what they mean by I've had a great childhood or great.
Okay. Okay. What are some of the things that you have done with your clients or yourself that helped you overcome the limiting beliefs that you've had? Or let me say it like this. What are some of the limiting beliefs you've had in your clients? Just name a few of them.
Again, I'm not good enough. I have to
Uh-huh.
work hard.
Okay.
I have to please everyone, or it's horrible if someone gets mad at me. That was a big
Mm-hmm.
one with me too.
Okay.
Um, yeah, those are probably some of the top ones.
Okay.
It's people
So,
pleasing is a huge one. Yeah.
yeah. So how do you help and how did you overcome those or work towards overcoming them?
Yeah, it's the little baby steps. So
Okay.
we come into a solution. We want a solution, immediate gratification. We want it to go from 1 to 100, and we can't do that. The whole beauty of it is going through the process of the healing and then celebrating it. So it's
Okay.
awareness. So it's becoming
Mm-hmm.
aware of your actions, becoming aware of the things that you're doing. And
Mm-hmm.
so once you start to become aware of them, you're able to start correcting them. And
Okay.
then you're going to mess up. I mean, I mess up. My clients mess up all the time. We mess up. We're not perfect. And it's, again, the beautiful part of it. We give ourselves
Right.
grace for it. Like, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm very proud of myself for acknowledging this, acknowledging that I didn't do it this time. So next time I'll be a little bit more aware and a little
Mm-hmm.
more aware. And it's more of the
Mm-hmm.
awareness. Of course, we have to
Mm-hmm.
take some actionable steps behind that. But it's getting to that point of awareness to where we start to change. For people pleasing, maybe it's you're going to do something that steps out of your comfort zone just
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. You're going to open
Right.
up and be a little vulnerable to someone. They may not
Right.
receive it in. So it's just a little bit, the little steps. We don't want to go from I'm just completely open and free because that's not being true to who you are at this current state of mind. You have to do the little
Right.
baby steps and towards it. Just the little things, the everyday
Sure.
things add up.
Yeah. So, for example, like myself, my thing is perfection. Everything has to be just
Yeah.
right. And I understand where that came from as growing up, as my inner child, and never was able to satisfy my mom. It was
Mm,
always, oh, why are you wearing that? Why are you wearing your hair like that? Da, 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 da. Wanting to be accepted by her. Now, being aware of that, how would you, if I were your client, help me through that process? Like I can't do it because it has to be right. And many times it will take me so long to do things because I can't get it right. And so
yeah.
sometimes I don't get it at all. So I would take me through that process and as a client.
That's a big one. A lot of women, particularly women, struggle with that. I would tell you to let's go back and talk at the story of your mom and look at your mom from who she was as a
Mm-hmm.
human being. Because we're going to look at our parents as superheroes, but
Mm-hmm.
as a human being, all
Right.
the things that she said to you were nothing but her own fears being projected onto you. So if
Mm.
you can start to see that, why are you wearing that? She's afraid that you might go out and someone's not going to like it and you're going to get made fun of. I'm just saying maybe that was her thought process of
Um,
it. But now we have to
mhm.
go down into your side and be like, little Cassandra, was that true? No, that
Mhm.
was your mom's fears projecting onto you.
Right.
So now, does that mean I have to be perfect? No. Think about all the times that I was imperfect and it turned out to be a beautiful thing. So we're just
Right.
having conversations with our inner child. And it's
Mhm.
really starting that first. And then it's saying, what would happen? What was the best thing that happened if I start the first step? What's
Mm.
maybe the worst thing that could happen
Mhm.
if I start the first step? Maybe somebody's not going to like it.
Right.
Well, am I really going to doing this? Am I really doing this for them or for me? I really want to do this
Mhm.
for me. So if
Mhm.
that's what's holding you back is this other person, then what if I did this for myself? What's the feeling I'm going to have? And I'm really big into feeling into feelings because I
Okay.
think you can go in and you can talk all day long and do all the whatever, but if you're not feeling into it, that's why people say manifestation doesn't work. You're not feeling into it. You're saying, you're trying to say, I'm going to use an example, I want $10 million, but you're not feeling that you're worthy of it. So you have to feel the
Mm,
worthiness behind it too. So
okay.
look at what is holding me back? Is it because I think I'm not good enough to make that next step?
Hmm.
Ooh, that's a big one. So that to step
Right.
back a little bit. Let's work on the
Okay.
self-worth portion of it. So there's
Okay.
not like a whole right or wrong like
Sure.
system to guide to like to tell you how that that's a lot of work behind it. But really
Yeah.
going back into it, it really comes back down to a self-worth issue that we tend to struggle with, especially as women. Um,
Mm,
that the self-worth that we're not good enough, so we have to make it perfect. If it's not perfect, then we're not good enough.
right.
And so kind of
Exactly.
struggling with that thing and where it comes from.
So why do you think inner child work is necessary for everyone?
Because everyone has inner child wounds. And so I think we have, if everybody, a single person on this entire planet, or let's just take the United States right now for everything we're living under,
Yeah.
um, if every single person decided to work on part of their wounds, they
Hmm.
would start to open up and see people differently. You're going
Hmm.
to start to open up and you're going to see yourself differently. You're going to value yourself differently. You're not going to put up with some of the things that are being brought to you, and you're going to have a different value for yourself.
Hmm.
And you're going to treat other people differently too because you're going to see the
Hmm.
value in them. So
Okay.
imagine if every single person did that, just the domino effect, the light effect that would have for the world. That's
Hmm.
why every single person needs to do that, because there's something in every single person's life that is hindering them from showing a little bit extra love. And so if we show a little bit extra love to the world, that's when the world
Hmm.
starts to change. I want to be a world change maker. That's
Okay.
it.
That's
That's
you're on a mission.
that's my mission, is to do it one person, individual by individual, and that's how it
Okay.
starts to happen. So everyone can have, I mean, every single person can have a small impact on one person, and that one person tells the next person and teaches the
Hmm.
next person and the next
Hmm.
person. Then you got like 20 people that are affected by this.
Right.
Then you're going to have that one person that's going to be like Tony Robbins or Oprah, that's sitting out there teaching the world about it.
Right. The
And what's going to happen
domino.
is dominant opening up. So that's why
Yeah.
inner child work to me is in the world. Selfishly, if you want to selfishly, if somebody wants to look at why they should do it, is who doesn't want to live a life of just pure joy and happiness, no matter
Hmm.
whatever situation happens?
Yes.
Who doesn't want to feel worthy?
Right.
I mean,
That's
that's enough reason in the world to do the work behind
right.
it.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Great. Um, Let me talk a bit about, because you talked as you talked about religion and
Mhm.
growing up, and um, you shouldn't do this. Of course, when you probably got pregnant, your parents were like, "Oh my
Oh yeah.
gosh, you're a bad girl. Why did you do that? Oh my goodness." Um, but but with that, you have implemented some spiritual practices
Hmm.
to heal your inner child. Okay, not religious, like you said, spiritual practices. What are some of those spiritual practices that you've acquired?
Yeah. So I have um a deep connection to, I call the divine. I don't put
Okay.
names on it because I have spiritual trauma behind a lot of what I've went through. And
Okay.
so I have a huge connection to divine. I do believe there is such an, people call it universe, sort, whatever.
Hmm.
There's I'm a true believer there's something bigger, better than
Sure.
bigger, much bigger, better than us out there, where
Yeah.
we came from. And
Right.
so as I connect to that, I get divinely guided into
Hmm.
touch into my intuitive. And everyone can do this. People think, oh, it's about, no, you can get intuitive messages. They're always sent to you. We just don't sit and listen. And so
Uh-huh.
spending through meditation and listening to the messages, listening to what's coming up for me or for other people, that to me is the spiritual practices that implement. And it's, to me,
Okay.
spiritual practices is showing love and kindness to people. And if I'm
Okay.
showing love and kindness to people, to me, that is true spirituality.
Right. And you're also showing that to yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hmm.
It starts with
Hmm.
yourself. If you can't love yourself, you're going to
Right.
have a really hard time loving other people to the degree
Right.
that they want,
Right.
that the love that needs to be given out.
Right, exactly. Yeah, there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about to love your neighbor as
Yeah.
yourself. And when I used to read that, I would always say, but if you don't love yourself, it's going to be so difficult. to love your neighbor, you know.
Yeah. I think that's what it's talking about.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, well, you have a toolkit.
Do I have a
Is that
toolkit?
right? You do have a toolkit. You have a toolkit. It's like your workshops for inner child
Yeah.
work. So share some actionable steps that my listeners could do.
Yes. So the first thing I love to teach people how to do is to actually connect with your inner child. And it's
Okay.
as simply as putting your hand on your heart, closing your eyes, taking a
Yes.
deep breath in, and
Okay.
imagining yourself when you were that little child.
Okay.
And if you can't do that, I suggest people getting a picture of themselves or something that they can imagine that looks
Mm-hmm.
just like them, that reminds them of their childhood. But we
Okay.
want to do this on a safe place. So we want to imagine the safest place, start the safest place they've ever been,
Uh-huh.
kind of guide them through that, and then to open the door up, and there's your little inner child. So as you're talking, you're going to speak to your inner child, and you're going to ask your inner child, "How are you? I'm so happy to see you."
Mm-hmm.
And just listen to it. If it says, "I don't
Okay.
have anything to say," just ask them,
Uh-huh.
"Okay, well, tell me something that's been upsetting you, bothering you lately." And just have a conversation back and forth. You may feel kind of crazy at first. You can do this in
Mm-hmm.
closed doors, but just have a conversation back and forth with this little child, and then you're going to listen. The most
Mm-hmm.
important thing is to listen without
Mm.
judgment,
Okay.
because it can feel the judgment still coming off of you. We're treating it like as a third person here. Listen to
Right.
judgment and let it know that anything it has to say is valid,
Mm-hmm.
respected.
Okay.
So you're providing safety, you're providing listening, and then you're providing some love to it. So after that, we're going to go back through and we're going to give the child some love. And we're going to assure it and be like, you know what? Whatever you went through, whatever you're feeling is valid and it should not have happened. And I'm very sorry that you had to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Okay.
love you. And I want you to sit every single day. I always tell people, sit and tell your inner child, I love you. I say, I love you, little Alicia. And I just
Mm-hmm.
feel into that love as I wanted as a child, how good it would make me feel as a child to have that love, just to feel loved and special. And just let that
Mm-hmm.
child know it's love and special. And then when you
Mm-hmm.
do that, you're going to allow it to come out and play.
Mm.
So you're going to
Okay.
tie this up. And this cannot have to be the same, like a one session thing. It is for me now.
Sure.
But as
Yes.
you're feeling it's multiple different, you may just spend some time listening for a while, then spend some time acknowledging it. But then you want that
Okay.
inner child to play.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna want it to bring it out. I mean, if I take people, if you wanted to be a ballerina when you're a kid, go to the ballet. If you're physically able
Uh-huh.
to take ballet lessons, if you love superheroes, dress up like one. Or if you don't want to do that, not
Okay.
confident, wear that red shirt like Superwoman and walk
Yeah.
around like you are just hot, you're Superwoman and go help somebody. And
Mm.
emanate the things, color,
Okay.
jump rope, whatever you love to do. If you love to play basketball. Get it to the childlike spirit. And so
Okay.
children want to feel, when you look at a child, it wants to play, wants to
Yeah.
feel safe. Of course, it
Yeah.
wants its basic necessities met, like a roof over its head and food and shelter, you got to take care of that way. And it wants to feel love. So if you can
Okay.
give that child, and that's reparenting your child. Now,
Mm.
forewarning, your child may want to play all the time after this, and you have to be parented back in because there are times that you can't be playing 24/7, unfortunately, in the world that
Yeah.
we live in.
Yeah.
So it's
Too
like when
bad.
you have to be serious, you have to like, okay, a little inner child, okay, I'm going to make this deal with you. I'm going to work for today. And then tomorrow I'll take 2 hours off and we'll go for a walk in the park or something. So you're
Mm.
still playing and you're kind of compromising with it, but you're not ignoring it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Alicia, so that can be used for um, not only a happy place in your childhood, but not so happy place. Something could have happened to you, violated
Yes.
or something, and you can talk through that situation with that child like it's not your fault,
Yes.
that this happened to you. And so because it's not your fault, I want you, and you're okay now, so
Yeah.
even those bad things, what we find as bad, you could do that same scenario, but twist it, switch it a little bit, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. You
Yeah.
always want to come from a safe place. And I do want to preference this that if you had any type of abuse, such as sexual or physical or any extremely emotional abuse, Um,
Mhm.
go find like help with a licensed trauma therapist. So
Okay.
I always tell people to go that route because you want to take care of those things with someone who is
Okay.
trained and licensed to walk you through a extreme traumatic thing. We're talking
Okay.
about little wounds that happened in our
Sure.
childhood. Maybe we brought home a grade that the teachers didn't that we thought we deserved better, or maybe a kid hit us or something. I mean,
Right.
wounds that happened that are still kind of traumatic for us, but they're
Sure.
not major things that have make a major trajectory of our life. But
Okay.
yes, you can use these tools definitely to do that. You could
Okay.
because we want to listen to our inner child and we want to make it feel safe. And so that's the
Mhm.
biggest thing is so you want to make sure when you're coming. That's why you always have people start off with feeling the safe space. You want to do this in
Right.
a safe space. You don't do this out in the open. I mean, where you're feeling people judgments or anything. You want to do this in a very safe space for yourself
Okay.
because
All
your inner
right.
child can come out and it can be more vulnerable with you. It can be more open with you. And it's
Right.
going to trust you. So we want to
Okay.
build that trust back up because we've been ignoring our inner child for so long. It doesn't trust us.
Okay. Okay. Right. Because we definitely want to have emotional, what we
Yeah.
choose of emotional freedom.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say could be a strong possibility of my listeners who are stuck. There's certain things that they want to do. They maybe want to get out of a toxic relationship, write a
Mhm.
book, change jobs, be an entrepreneur. It may be an idea for them to go into their inner child wounds because
Yeah.
some of those things could be the catalyst for them
That's
being stuck. Is
yeah.
that, yeah,
That was
okay,
mine. That was mine. That's how I
okay.
gravitated into this work because that was what was keeping me stuck was my inner child wounds. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a different strategy, a way of looking at
Yeah.
things, you know? Yeah, that's great. How can my listeners get in touch with you?
Yeah. So my website's the best way to get in touch with me. First name, last name, AliciaFarricielli.com. On the
Hmm.
top of there's a book a link but or book a call button. Click on that button. Book a call with me. We'll take about 60 minutes, however long you need. And we'll
Hmm.
talk through some things you're going through. If you just need it's almost like a free coaching call for the
Oh,
listeners.
great.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
At the end, I'll give you some things to walk away with, to do, to kind of start the healing process of it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
also, if they want to work with me long term wise, then we'll talk about what that looks like. I
Okay.
do have a workshop coming up in April that's for
Hmm.
single women that are looking to for relationship kind of help more as they're having things that are they're stuck up against. Um,
Right. How
relationship.
long is that workshop?
It is 4 hours and it's only
Okay.
$99. And we're going to take a
Oh,
30-minute lunch break and it will be recorded. So if you can't make that date, go ahead and sign up for it. I'll
okay.
send you the recording for it. So we'll
Okay.
have
Okay.
tons of like cool, cool stuff going on in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Um, Tell us the link for that discovery call, that complimentary discovery call. Repeat that again.
Yes, it's AliciaFarricielli.com. It's
Hmm. Hmm.
ALICIAFarricielli.com.
Okay. Okay, great. Now, my last question. How is your relationship with your parents now?
That's a great question. Um, my father and I don't have a relationship anymore. We don't speak anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, due to his disownment of my choices and stuff. And that's okay because I needed that to heal myself. I sent him love, I sent him grace, I've sent him forgiveness, and I've totally it's hurtful, but I've walked the path through and I love him from a distance. My mom and I are so close. And they're still
Hmm.
together. So it's kind of a
Hmm.
little awkward, but
Right.
my mom and I have actually grown so much closer um
Okay.
over the
It
years that we're really good
sounds
place.
like you and your daughter.
Yes. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
My mom's did a lot. I'm so proud of her. She did a lot of personal growth too over the
Yeah.
past few years that
Okay.
makes me want to
Okay.
cry. I'm so happy for her.
Yeah. Well, it's not over yet, so you never know how this all will turn out. But
It'll turn out the way it needs to.
yeah, I applaud you for the work that you've done. I think it's phenomenal. I'm I think the work that you're doing to serve other people is phenomenal. And I like to share with my listeners, and I know that you've heard some things on this podcast that have perhaps given you an epiphany or you know that there's something that you have a friend that you want to share it with, I ask you to please do so. And also, I ask that you subscribe to this channel so that you may hear some other enlightening, what I call tidbits, breadcrumbs, or diamonds, or whatever that you can pick up and use that in your life moving forward. So, as I always say, Alicia, to my listeners, I always say bye for now. I want to thank you, Alicia, for your
Thank
wisdom,
you.
and God bless you all. Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you.